Hello and welcome to One India. You are watching World News. I am Pankaj Mishra. The Persian Gulf is once again becoming the center of global strategic tension. The United States is expanding its military presence near Iran. Tehran is signaling defiance, and new information warfare tactics are entering the geopolitical theater. At the same time, Russia, China, and Iran are conducting joint naval drills in one of the world's most critical maritime corridors. We begin with the American military buildup near Iran. The US Navy is deploying a second aircraft carrier strike group to the Middle East as tensions with Iran escalate. The USS Gerald R. Ford, the world's largest aircraft carrier, is moving from the Caribbean towards the eastern Mediterranean to join the USS Abraham Lincoln, already operating near Iranian waters. Defense analysts say nearly one-third of America's deployed naval fleet is now focused only on Iran, signaling both deterrence and readiness for potential confrontation. Let's take a closer look.
The U.S. Navy's largest and most advanced aircraft carrier is now heading into the Mediterranean Sea, and global attention is on Iran. Could this massive naval deployment signal a U.S. strike within hours? The USS Gerald R. Ford, CVN-78, a 100,000-ton nuclear-powered supercarrier, has passed through the Strait of Gibraltar, navigating between Spain and Morocco. Real-time satellite footage and social media posts show the carrier steaming east, escorted by Arleigh Burke-class destroyers, support ships, and submarines. This redeployment marks a major pivot from its Caribbean operations, where it previously supported counter-narcotics missions and high-profile operations in Venezuela. Now it is moving to join the USS Abraham Lincoln in the Arabian Sea, creating a rare dual-carrier presence in the Middle East, a powerful show of force that signals U.S. readiness for any contingency. Tensions with Iran are at a critical point. Nuclear negotiations remain stalled in Geneva. Iran's ballistic missile program is advancing. Domestic protests in Iran are intensifying. Regional provocations, including drone harassment and naval exercises, are escalating. President Donald Trump has framed this redeployment as a strategic warning, emphasizing that failure in diplomacy could lead to severe consequences, potentially including military action.
What are you expecting from these Iran talks in Geneva tomorrow?
So I'll be involved in those talks indirectly, and they'll be very important. We'll see what can happen. It's been typically, Iran's a very tough negotiator. They're good negotiators, or bad negotiators. I would say they're bad negotiators because we could have had a deal instead of sending the B-2s in to knock out their nuclear potential, and we had to send the B-2s. I hope they're going to be more reasonable. They want to make a deal.
Have you been told that a deal is next to impossible?
No, I think they want to make a deal. I don't think they want the consequences of not making a deal. They want to make a deal.
The Ford's Carrier Air Wing 8 is loaded with F/A-18E/F Super Hornets, EA-18G Growlers, E-2D Hawkeyes, drones, and surveillance aircraft, all ready for precision strikes or rapid response operations. Combined with Tomahawk missiles, SM-6 surface-to-air systems, and hundreds of escort vessels, the Carrier Strike Group projects overwhelming power across the Middle East. The dual-carrier presence could place U.S. strike aircraft within range of Iran by February 20th, fueling speculation of a possible preemptive strike if tensions spiral further. When asked about the Gerald Ford deployment in the Middle East and the impact it could have on the U.S., Trump chose to remain silent and dodge the question. Play the bite. This redeployment is more than a military maneuver. It's a geopolitical statement. With Iran on high alert, neighboring countries watching closely, and global energy markets sensitive to any conflict, the next few days could determine whether this massive show of force leads to diplomatic breakthroughs or further escalation.
Now, as Washington reinforces its naval posture, Tehran is responding with defiance. Iran's supreme leader, Ayatollah Ali Khamenei, declared that the country's enemies are, quote unquote, disappointed, even as nuclear negotiations with the United States remain fragile and uncertain. The rhetoric comes amid reports that the US is preparing for possible escalation while still keeping diplomatic channels open. Here's the story.
A sharp new war of words is unfolding between Tehran and Washington. Iran's supreme leader, Ayatollah Ali Khamenei, has fired back at the United States with blunt warnings, declaring Washington will not succeed in destroying Iran as nuclear talks inch forward. His message was unmistakable. Iran is prepared for confrontation, and any attack would come at a heavy cost. The statement lands at a moment of extreme tension, with U.S. military assets building across the Middle East and diplomacy hanging by a thread. Khamenei's rhetoric went even further. He warned that the American military could be struck so hard that it cannot get back up, adding that the real threat is not U.S. warships, but the weapons capable of sinking them.
President of the United States keeps saying our army is the most powerful in the entire world. The most powerful army on earth could be dealt such a devastating blow that it would be completely unable to ever get back on its feet.
The comments signaled Tehran's confidence in its missile and naval strike capabilities, particularly in the Persian Gulf, where Iranian forces specialize in asymmetric warfare. For Iran's leadership, deterrence means convincing Washington that any attack would trigger immediate and painful retaliation. The escalation followed a dramatic remark from President Donald Trump, who claimed he has precise intelligence on Khamenei's location and could reveal it live on air, though he said doing so would be unwise.
I'll be involved in those talks indirectly, and they'll be very important. We'll see what can happen. It's been typically, Iran's a very tough negotiator. They're good negotiators, or bad negotiators. I would say they're bad negotiators because we could have had a deal instead of sending the B-2s in to knock out their nuclear potential, and we had to send the B-2s. I hope they're going to be more reasonable. They want to make a deal.
Trump has combined these signals with renewed threats over nuclear negotiations. Speaking aboard Air Force One, he said he would be involved in the talks indirectly and warned Iran would face consequences if it refuses to make a deal. U.S. officials say military planning remains on standby should diplomacy collapse. The approach reflects Trump's long-standing strategy of maximum pressure, offering talks while keeping the option of force visibly on the table. For Tehran, setting the outcome of negotiations in advance is foolish and wrong, according to Khamenei, who insists Iran will not negotiate under threats. Iranian leaders have repeatedly warned that any strike would ignite a regional war, potentially drawing in proxies and disrupting global shipping routes. Meanwhile, Washington insists Iran must never obtain nuclear weapons, keeping the core dispute unresolved even as mediators try to keep dialogue alive. The confrontation looks less like diplomacy and more like psychological warfare. Trump's hints of intelligence superiority and Khamenei's vows of retaliation reflect a dangerous game of signaling strength without crossing into open conflict. But history shows that such brinkmanship carries risks. In a region already on edge, a single miscalculation could shift the standoff from rhetoric to reality.
The confrontation is no longer limited to military deployments and political messaging. An AI-generated video circulating online showing the simulated kidnapping of Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu and his wife highlights how information warfare and psychological signaling are becoming parts of modern geopolitical conflict. As tensions rise between Washington and Tehran, digital propaganda and narrative battles are increasingly shaping public perception. Here's more.
The confrontation between Iran and its rivals is no longer confined to missiles, warships, or diplomacy. A new battlefield has opened, the digital front. An AI-generated video circulating online appears to show Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu and his wife being captured after a simulated Iranian strike on Tel Aviv. The footage is not real, but its message is unmistakable. Analysts say it reflects a growing shift towards psychological warfare, where narratives and perception are weapons just as powerful as missiles. In the video, drones are shown striking buildings in Tel Aviv before commandos arrest Netanyahu and escort him away in handcuffs. The scene ends with the couple depicted aboard a military aircraft, blindfolded and detained. Clips like these are designed less to inform than to intimidate, projecting strength, mocking adversaries, and signaling what Iran wants the world to imagine could happen in a future conflict. The video surfaced as Iran's Supreme Leader Ayatollah Ali Khamenei issued fresh warnings to both Washington and Tel Aviv. He declared that more dangerous than fleets of warships are the weapons capable of sinking them, and insisted the United States has failed for decades to destroy the Islamic Republic. His message was clear. Iran believes it has both the capability and the resilience to withstand pressure and to retaliate if attacked. All this comes as U.S. forces expand their presence in the Middle East and nuclear negotiations remain fragile. Washington says it wants a deal, but insists Iran must never obtain nuclear weapons. Tehran counters that it will not negotiate under threats. Between those positions lies a dangerous gap, one now filled with psychological signaling, digital propaganda, and escalating rhetoric. Whether this digital escalation stays symbolic or becomes a prelude to real confrontation may depend on what happens next at the negotiating table and on how both sides interpret each other's signals.
And as the United States and Iran remain locked in confrontation, new alliances are emerging at sea. Iran, Russia, and China are conducting the Maritime Security Belt naval exercises in and around the Strait of Hormuz, one of the world's most strategically important waterways. The drills aim to improve coordination against piracy, maritime terrorism, and threats to global shipping routes, while also demonstrating growing military cooperation among the three countries. Or at least, this is what they had to say. The exercises have been held annually since 2019 under Iranian initiative, but this time around, it is being seen in a different spotlight. Watch this report.
The waters of the Strait of Hormuz, one of the world's most critical oil choke points, are set to witness a dramatic show of naval power. Iran, in collaboration with Russia and China, is hosting the 8th annual Maritime Security Belt 2026 exercises in the Strait of Hormuz, the Sea of Oman, and the northern Indian Ocean. Russian presidential aide Nikolai Patrushev confirmed that warships from all three nations have been dispatched, with drills scheduled to begin in late February 2026. Iranian media describe the exercises as routine, focused on enhancing maritime security, combating piracy, and practicing coordinated search and rescue operations. But experts say the message is far more strategic. The Strait of Hormuz handles about 20% of the world's oil trade, making these exercises not just military maneuvers, but a signal of power. Iran's IRGC Navy has been preparing for months, demonstrating control over shipping flows and responding to potential threats. China has sent advanced destroyers, while Russia and Iran contribute multiple naval units to showcase operational coordination. Analysts see the drills as an extension of Iran's growing partnership with Moscow and Beijing, strengthening an anti-hegemonic axis amid U.S. sanctions and regional rivalries. The timing is notable. U.S. Central Command previously warned of potential clashes after the deployment of the USS Abraham Lincoln carrier group nearby. Despite that, Tehran confirms the exercises are proceeding, projecting strength and deterrence. From Iran's perspective, these drills achieve multiple objectives, signaling readiness to deter adversaries, protecting vital trade routes, and asserting influence regionally and internationally. While officials insist the maneuvers are defensive, the crowded waters of the Strait of Hormuz present real risks of miscalculation. Any incident could escalate tensions further, particularly with the United States watching closely. As the world monitors these drills, the message is clear. Iran, backed by Russia and China, is asserting itself as a pivotal maritime power, ready to defend its economic lifelines and challenge U.S. dominance in the Gulf.
The signals from the Gulf are becoming clearer and more dangerous. American carriers are moving into position. Iran is testing missiles and conducting drills. China and Russia are stepping into the regional security equation, and diplomacy continues under the shadow of possible conflict. We will bring you all the details to you. Keep watching World News on One India.